and whatnot. But fortunately, we were able to still bring assistance and still bring hope to the people of Trinidad. I would have, through the corporation and through my term as a UNC counselor, I would have been able to do some infrastructure work, such as the usual box drain roads, whatnot for the people, but more so during that pandemic time, that 2 years pandemic time, I would have been able to help them as it relates to relief through corporate stakeholders, family, friends, whatnot. We would have been able to distribute. Now, I want to tell you exactly how much hampers during that COVID time. 1,589 COVID relief hampers, Diwali, Mother's Day hampers, all that would have fell within that COVID period. Are you hearing me?
We are hearing you.
Yes,
I wanna ask you something, because I of course you all know Nomination, they would have been yesterday. So I listened keenly to several interviews from the PNM, from the UNC, and then from a number of candidates, NT, and so you mentioned the box drain, and I know that the People's Partnership government, they boast of creating box drains, because of course we know that it assists in alleviating floodings, right? Floods. We all would have seen the news at some point throughout today. And I know that it is a very difficult time for many families at this point to be going through that again and again and again and again. I mean, I live in San Fernando. I've lived San Fernando my entire life. And there's certain areas within San Fernando I've never seen flood before. I was driving through that, coming down the highway today, and of course heading into San Fernando to get home, and I was like, I've never experienced that before. So tell us why it's so important, box drains, because you mentioned it as an accomplishment, yes, but I think that there's a lot of noise out there to try to diminish the purpose of it. But of course, today and in any rainy season, we see the full reason why we need drains. We need the cleaning up drains and things. So tell us more about that.
Any forward-moving country, there is always a need for an operating infrastructure. Yes, long time we may have lived through the earthen drains and whatnot, but this is the 21st century, and I am proud to be a part of that government, that People's Partnership, that party, and take ownership of us doing a lot of box drains, as the box drain king, queen, however they want to term it, right? Yeah. Box drain is important. It is part of our infrastructure upgrade. It helps to channel the flow of water from maybe our homes to the rightful way out. So, I mean, I guess only the PNM could come up with a justification or a degrading thing as upgrade to say that.
Quite degrading, and what as a young person looking on, I always look at the intention behind certain things that persons do, and of course the intention behind the messages in which we craft and what we say. And well, I don't know what's the intention to try to vilify a drain.
The PNM will look for anything to degrade, any upliftment that was done under the People's Partnership, under the UNC, under a 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗏 led government. They will look to degrade that. It's like cutting your nose off to spite your face or to spoil your face. That is what the PNM is about.
The 1,500, hampers.
1,589.
Right, 1,589. Is that a big number? It's a huge number. That's a huge accomplishment. How were you able to do that? Because of course you would have been dealing with the unprecedented times within a pandemic. There was uncertainty there was a point where we thought that there's almost like a food shortage in the country, right? We would have seen the long lines where persons were just outside trying to get something to eat. So, I mean, but this is a very impressive figure.
So a lot of that would have come through family, friends, and I want to say from the Muslim community. Now, at the time of crisis, our brothers and sisters in Islam tend to come together, and we would have personally contributed towards sourcing and funding these hampers. So through that community, I would have gotten a lot of assistance with the majority of these hampers.
Well, we want to hear more from you as well, but I'm looking over here. at Mr. Lyndon, and of course, this is your first time. Yeah. So how has this experience been so far? Of course, you would have been, well, of course, I guess you would have spoken with your support system, screen, nomination day, and now you're here to discuss this particular candidacy. So why did you decide to, one, offer yourself for service, but not only offer yourself for service, but through the UNC? What would have been some of the pull factors or attracted you to the organization that is the United National Congress?
All right. Let me say thank you for having me here tonight, 𝗚liche, yourself, Shanta, and let me congratulate you guys on a wonderful program that you all have every week. You know, I come on when I can, and I'm always intrigued by what you guys are doing. You know, congratulations on what you are doing. Commendations goes out to you guys. Well, firstly, this is one of the few occasions that I could say that you're fatigued, you're tired, but you're enjoying the tiredness, you're enjoying the fatigueness, because really and truly it's all about your burgesses. It's all about being there and building that trust, you know, with the burgesses, because you will know more than anybody else in your district, you know, what are the needs and things, because you have been there, right? For me, why I choose to put myself as a candidate in the local government election, and plainly speaking, you know, reason is primarily because I have become very disgusted, disenchanted, disappointed with the level of representation that the burgesses have been getting in the past, primarily under this administration.
What is the representation that you are speaking about? Obviously, I know that you're speaking about under the PNM, but
that's right.
Why you say that? What do you think, or what I should say is possibly, how did they not serve you well? What did they do or not do?
All right. One of the things that I've recognized, and even on the walks, you'll find that that's the feedback, general feedback. There is a distance between your representative and the members of the community. In other words, absenteeism. They're not visible, right? And there's also, even when you walk through, I don't know, in most of the districts, you see where underdevelopment taking place. No development is taking place. And even those development projects that were there, maintenance very poor. So what you are seeing is that many of the youths, because there are a lack of development, there are lack of development projects, for them to really capitalize on, to really, prune their skills. Because really and truly, you have a lot of persons there who has plenty skill sets, like, footballers, cricketers, basketballers, you name it, right? And when you pass and you see these youths, absent because from these facilities, because the facilities are not in a position whereby, they can occupy and make something meaningful out of themselves and develop themselves. Right? So you find these things are taking place in areas like Malabar North, right? If you pass through there, you see even football fields and things that where persons used to occupy and, to have, little football taking place. They are high bushes, the grass is high. But really and truly, what really drew my attention and really I accepted this call is because of the very same people who asked me to, right? I was approached and I was asked to put myself up to represent the people's interests. I've always been an advocate for people's interests, right? I've always been an advocate for that. I love doing it. I love representing people from whatever level. I love representing people. It's a passion that I have. And I want to see the youths, not just in Malabar North, but Malabar South, and the whole of our 𝗟𝗎𝗡. The whole of our 𝗟𝗎𝗡 was once known as the hub of sporting and cultural activities, right? These things are dying. And we can do it from the local government level and restore the pride.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. You know, it's interesting, Alicia, I'm sure you are listening on as well. And it's almost funny because here we have, you know, he's speaking about his representatives being absent and not being able to tether to their burgesses. And then we have Nadia with the big figure of 1,589. Obviously, she's tethered to her burgesses. And then this is not a plug, but it happened just a few days ago. My councillor had a cricket tournament, which of course sports build. It builds not only community, but it also some persons their interest, their professional life. It starts off at something as simple as maybe a small cricket or football club. Lisha, what do you have to say about that though? Like how you think about it?
First of all, I really want to commend Nadia on her accomplishments over the last 3.5 years, right? And we've gotten such favorable, even when we advertised this program and people contacted me, and we got some very favorable commentary about Nadia and her performance. There is one thing that I do want to ask though, right? I know a common complaint that we hear from councillors is that they're starved for funds to properly service the needs of their burgesses. So I would like to throw this question out to both Nadia and Lyndon. How would you treat with this if you find yourself in that situation? Perhaps Nadia could go first.
So we at CTTRC, we have been in this situation a number of years, but I would think we are a resilient bunch. We persevere to serve our people. We have learned that from our leaders, serve, serve, serve. I'm not Lisha, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it has been a bed of roses, all hunky-dory, as it most certainly hasn't. It has not been. It has been filled with trials and tribulations. However, we have taken an oath to serve, and serve we shall. Things take longer than normal as our resources are spread thinly, but it is getting done. Recently, we have been fortunate to purchase a heavy-duty equipment, such as a backhoe and a tractor, to help out the situation. But we could only be optimistic that further purchases such as these will soon be on the cards. I would also like to make mention that at CTTRC, we have implemented a few local economic development initiatives that we believe, well, I want to say more so, this is my personal belief in teaching somebody to fish rather than giving you the fish all the time. So through our LED, we would have initiated programs and whatnot. So our burgesses need jobs, and due to the economic climate, we can't assist in giving them jobs, but we can assist in providing a degree of financial stability by providing training to them, by partnering with, for instance, 𝗟𝗡, COSTAT. And I want to give you a live example. Today, I was fortunate to be invited to an MIC launch of a solar-powered the institution in my area. Now, after this is I think this is a new initiative that was introduced today in their program or in my community, where they're going to teach you how to harvest solar energy and utilize it in your daily lives. More so, I saw them growing plants, seedlings by it. But long story short, I was having a conversation with the CEO of MIC afterwards. And every time, you know, he was most impressed with my presence being there. And the thing is, of course, I am excited about it because I see it as a way for my community to learn to do something for themselves, right? so his thing was, okay, get a group of people and we will come in, we will teach you how to do this thing, and we will look for corporate stakeholders out there to cover the costs. Now, of course, I am most excited. So I cannot wait till come August 14th to win this election, win my seat, go back in CTTRC as a councillor, to be able to share this across the board with my corporation for us to start to work together with MIC. So this is a typical example of the public partnerships that we have through the tourism, the LED initiative there, where we're teaching you to fish rather than always giving you something, because we're never in a position to always give you a hamper, give you food, give you a food card, give you something, but we can teach you to be able to do it.
Well, that's one of the things.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was saying that I really, really love that sentiment. Instead of giving somebody a fish, you teach them how to fish. Nadia, you've spoken about so many positive things that you've done for the community, but I want to ask you, if you were to pinpoint your greatest accomplishment in the last 3.5 years that you were councillor, what would it be?
There's so many things on a personal level that I could give you the list of things. But when I started off, when I took on this, I don't want to say a job. My passion has always been in social work. So taking on the responsibility of a counselor didn't seem as a job to me. It was just furthering what I love. And I always believe in you do what you love and you love what you do and you will succeed. It was giving hope, bringing hope to the lives of persons of less fortunate, and being able to bring hope in their life and put a smile on their face was the biggest accomplishment for me. I remember during the COVID time, a stakeholder out there was able to call me and say, "Councillor, we have a truckload of fish. What to do with it?" So I think I was one of the first councillors to partner with the stakeholder and drive around the community giving out fish for persons. And Lisha, Chris, you would be amazed at the smiles. People were so amazed. They never had this in their lives. I had another initiative and I had learned that from my political leader during COVID time, to initiate and encourage the garden with the seedlings and the planting, that too. Even the sandbag initiative during the rainy season, which is what we're in right now, my front yard used to be filled with loads of sand and persons volunteering together with my husband, children, family, friends, filling sandbags. I would repeat villagers to help distribute it to the persons who cannot come to get these sandbags themselves. There's so many things. I even had a bread drive. Bread butter was donated by some other persons and generous stakeholders out there. There's so many things, so many of accomplishment on a personal level that I could name. It just warms your heart as a councillor to know that you could do this for the people out there.
Nadia, you're speaking, and I'm really seeing and feeling and hearing, the passion and the commitment, So I really want to wish you best of luck. I think you're going straight back there, to complete the work that you would have started 3.5 years ago. I'm sure that everyone who's listening will agree with me on that. Linda, I want to just switch the focus to you now, right? And let's talk a little bit about 𝗟𝗡 and what is going on in 𝗟𝗡. Now, something I want to tell the audience. Mr. Degan's nickname is Mr. Malabar, and I want you to tell us a little bit about that before I switch to talking about 𝗟𝗡. How you got that nickname, Mr. Malabar?
All right. Before I answer that, I listened to Nadia, and you see the smile on my face because she's exciting me, because, this is what a councillor, this is what a representative is all about. You take your oath of office and you understand your oath of office. You understand the purpose you're there. And there's this common saying where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. And that's the reason why we have such a persons abusing their office when they go there. Right? And it's clearly that Nadia understands the purpose whereby she was elected to serve. So therefore we see in representation, extraordinary, right? Coming to the question of where I got the name from, Mr. Malabar. Well, back in just on the eve of coming up to 2010 election, right? We started to, just proliferate the airwave, right? The radio stations, calling in, and we became known radio activists. Now, it has always common that you call in by the name of the district that you represent, right? So if you're Ms. Tunapuna, Mr. Malabar, Ms. Rio Claro. So the name Mr. Malabar was just natural, normal, common, in that I am calling from Malabar, right? And from that time to now, it has become a household name, in that even up to yesterday, at the nomination where we went to for the launch, when I introduced myself, people just act naturally gravitated, and they know the name, and they was glad to put a face to it, And what's the next question you asked? No, Alicia?
I wanted to focus a little bit about 𝗓𝗏. Now, we are seeing that 𝗓𝗏 has been decaying into a hotspot for crime, right? When you look at the news, you read it online, you've seen it all over social media. There have been several incidents involving violent crime in 𝗓𝗏 recently. So I want to know what would be some of your recommendations when it comes to dealing with crime in 𝗓𝗏?
Alicia, 𝗓𝗏 has become a crime hotspot because there is definitely a neglect of the youths in 𝗓𝗏, right? I spoke earlier on, and I spoke about the lack of developmental opportunities for the youths. If you do not have developmental programs in place that treat with the needs of the youths, then you expect a lost generation, right? What we are seeing here is that we understand that crime is a product of opportunity. If you want to combat that, then you must provide the necessary opportunity for the youths to develop their skills. What I started to do, actually, and one of the plans that I have, and one of the recommendations that I have, is that I started to do what you call, you have a skill bank. You're going from trying to develop a skill bank. Find out for these youths and them, where are the areas of skill? What skill do they have, right? And then you start to put a plan in place to develop that skill, right? If you do a house-to-house census, you will be able to determine the vulnerable houses where you have vulnerable youths, right? You don't even have to basically walk the streets, just do a census, house to house. And you will be able to pick out the vulnerable youths in the district, right? So we need to do actually, all the play parks, the playgrounds, the basketball courts, all these things need to be redeveloped, right? We need to provide opportunities for persons to get new skills, soft skills, right? Whether it is computer skills, whatever it is, provide the opportunities in these centers. You understand? Introduce cultural activities in the district. What about, I even think about going way back into bringing back the folk dance and things, right? To get people involved, right? And even to work with those past and present who were there with the 𝗏𝗟𝗃 folk performance. It's all about 𝗓𝗏. We are one family, right? So get the youths more involved. There are too much youths who are just being lost for lack of opportunity. Crime, 𝗓𝗏 has become a crime spot. I went to a crime forum, and I listened to the constable, 𝗖𝗱𝗡, and he was speaking about, the environmental, designs, right? In other words, redesign the districts, redesign the community, right? So that people will feel that they are part of a community that is developing and not decaying. And if you feel that there are persons there who you have placed in authority, who's showing that care and consideration for you as a youth, in providing the amenities and things for you to develop, then you will have a less opportunity, less reason to gravitate to crime. That crime is a holistic. Crime is something, but it's not a overnight fix, Lisa. You cannot fix it overnight because it is not something that really developed overnight, right? The criminal elements, so that the youths are vulnerable, they come to them and they are easily attracted to crime. Why? Because they feel a sense of togetherness, they feel a sense of love. It's about, they come together, they call it gangs, but they see themselves as families, right? And this is what we need that is how we need to treat with the crime in
well, you know, it's sounding like there's no love. There's a sense of hopelessness. It sounds that way. But if I may say this, right? I know, Lisha, that you said that this is in particular to Arima and even well, of course, Tunapuna. But I'm noticing that throughout the entire country, there's this sense of hopelessness where it pertains to job opportunities. There is that and that is an issue and a concern, and many young persons are looking on. We had temporary Senator Smith on last week, and he even spoke about why opportunities are so important. With you being able to use this position as a counselor to leverage leveraging the position to provide opportunities for younger persons, do you really foresee the crime lessening? Do you foresee persons perhaps maybe participating more in a productive manner?
What question is to me?
Yes, that's yes. You see that being a bit more productive, you know, less, you know.
The thing is, right?
Yeah.
We will want to believe that we have a generation that is lost. But
do we?
Nobody is lost, really. Everybody is reconcilable. Everybody could be rehabilitated, right? I don't like to look at it that the youths are lost, right? You just have to have the political will, the testicular fortitude to go out there and do what is required to reach the youths, right? Now, you must put the programs in place, and this is the point I'm getting at, so that the next generation will not find themselves in the very same predicament that this generation has found themselves in that we are now as adults are blaming the youths, which they are a product of where we went wrong. Yeah. Right? So why do we hold the youth so holistically or accountable or responsible for what they have become? What we need to do to reverse this cycle that has have our communities under fear is to understand that these youths, first and foremost, their behavior can be rehabilitated and they can be reconciled. That's the first thing. By providing the means whereby they can be attracted to and see that their skills can be developed. Many of them go to their grave, Chris, right, with multi-million-dollar talent. And that's one of the reasons why there's a common saying that the grave, the cemetery, is the richest place on earth, the wealthiest place on earth, right? Because they are sent there to their grave prematurely with this skill and talent that was left undeveloped because of the lack of opportunities, developmental programs to attract these youths. And you have to deal with them from a very tender age, right? We cannot just leave it up to the parents alone.
You know what I like about this conversation so far? That of course you have Lyndon coming in with his plans and his intentions, well intended. But then also with Nadia, you can see very well where she was able to use the position of counselor to really create those opportunities, and in her way. And I like how you said, teaching someone how to fish. So Nadia, it's a campaign. It's the mother of all. I think it's the mother of all elections in 𝗚liche. I think it's the mother of all elections. No, well, I think it's the mother of all elections.
I am going to say that I think that this is going to be a very different local government election. And with more people are going to come out and vote than we've had before, and we're going to see more activity on the ground. And I'm telling you all, I agree.
I also think there were a number of persons who did not vote in general because of COVID. And so they have just been waiting to exercise that right come August the 14th. And so, yeah, I'm just very excited about this entire thing. But the campaign, so the government, the PNM, they would have been in power from 2015 to now. And it just so happened that after COVID, the mother of all elections, everywhere in the country, a third party is jumping up. And when you see a third party jumping up throughout the length and breadth of a country, it tells you something about how we feel about the government. I mean, in Tobago, there are several political parties there, not to mention Trinidad. The government is saying that, here's what, we have the solution for all the issues in local government, even though we've been in power since 2015. We've been there since 2015, but in 2023, we came up with the best plan now. And the best plan is local government reform. What are your views on the local government reform and this whole thing about property tax? And of course, you're hearing the opposition. The opposition is saying, we don't want no property tax, not right now. People cannot afford that, So what's your position on this?
Well, there's so many things. Sorry, is that question aimed at me or Linda?
Yes. Yeah, we'll
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
we'll go with you first, and we'll take it.
I have a couple of things actually to say on local government reform, and property tax. But I know my time is limited, and I see Lyndon is getting very excited to respond. So let me make it short and sweet. Firstly, the PNM needs to transform the way they think about the people in TNT. Then and only then they would understand why this property tax is even crazy, is even absurd to be uttered out of their mouths at this time. I stand before you here and say a resounding no to property tax and no to any other tax, including inheritance tax. Come the man, flour, for example, everybody loves flour and bread, right? So flour rose by 33%. Mothers are starving. Children are being left on the wayside. Family life is being eroded as both parents are now required to work. And you want to add another tax? The only critical reform I am seeing right now is that the PNM, or I should say, the only critical reform right now that is needed in local government is the way the PNM are thinking. I see their tag team is vote for reform. Vote for PNM is vote for reform. Come the man, change your way of thinking.
But I want to
people reform is taxes. How can you even put the people through that right now? They're just coming out of a pandemic. People are still out of jobs. No taxes, no reform.
Before we go to Lyndon, right? I want to ask you, because you would have served in this capacity for some time. It's funny to me, again, I'm a young person looking on, right? As I say this on the campus very regularly, because I know we have some new viewers. So I would have done the youth parliaments, I did regional, and so I really got more involved in politics around maybe 18 next. So just a few years now, right? But I say all that to say, I'm looking on, and I was present for the 2019 campaign in that I was actually being attentive, listening on, looking on. I was trying to see what the plans were. I knew the UNC plan, and then, of course, general election, we would have seen the campaigns. Why no? Why no? I find it such a strategic, I don't know if it's strategic, but why now in 2023, this big word reform? And it's almost as though it's being used as a tool to sway a vote. Do you agree with that? Do you think that it's just poppycock?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, do you think so?
Reform has been, you have been hearing about local government reform over 25 years now. So, you know, that word should come as commonplace to all of us in Trinidad and Tobago already. Right? Reform, reform, reform. And I agree now that the only reformation that is required right now with the PMN is to reform their mind, their mentality, and the way they think. They need to reconfigure the way they think, because there's this belief, you know, that Trinidadians are stupid, you know, and in this age of technology, ignorance is an excuse. So the PNM cannot come to us with this thing and feel that we can easily buy into it. I hope not, that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are wiser now than we were 25 years ago, or 10 years ago, or let me narrow it down, 8 years ago, right? But the reality is this, that we are done properly taxed. As citizens of this country, we're done properly taxed. And here you come in to bring this property tax to continue the suppression of citizens in the country, right? Who will benefit from this? Who will benefit from property tax? Certainly not the citizens. The PNM has developed a history of saying one thing and doing something else. In other words, how can they be trusted, right? Now, local government reform and property tax is something that I don't think most people will have a problem. But when it comes to how it is being done now, it is an election campaigning strategy that will work against the PNM. Why I'm saying that? It is because the people of Trinidad and Tobago are not in a position now to be taxed anymore. Full stop, right? We are paying tax for almost everything. Just now they'll tax us for even speaking. We have to be, yeah. Open your mouth.
Mouth tax. How much I gotta spend?
Right?
We are poor.
Yeah.
When I vote.
Well, who will be liable for property tax? Persons who legitimately own lands, persons who lands or deeds, right? And even squatters on government land who are known as occupiers, they'll have to pay property tax, as well as owners of HDC house. I hope the squatters and HG house people who are working on this program are listening. You all are the squatters, you have to pay tax too. You are considered occupiers, right? But I want to draw this to the attention of the public, and I think it has already been regurgitated in the public already, right? Residential property 3%, commercial property 5%, agriculture 1%, those who own plant and machinery 6%. I ask the question: if somebody as ambitious as you, Chris, and you have your commercial property, you have a residential property, right? You're into agriculture as well, and you also have plant and machinery. Accumulatively, you understand where I'm going with this?
No, I completely understand where you're going with this, you know.
Right.
And I'm reading on the chats from one of our viewers. Kasraj said, the government is campaigning on voting for them, and the people will get local government reform anyways. And you know, I listened to Dr. Rowley Sunday, and he's saying when you vote for the PNM, you're voting for reform. But as we all know, that was already passed in Parliament. It's almost as though it is being suggested or implied, I imagine, I assume, based on what we are being told, that if you vote for non-PNM, the non-PNM will ensure we have no reform. But how the local government practitioners becoming parliamentarians to then go on, it's nonsensical. You know, so I think, Kasraj, you're very right about that. So they're promising nothing, except if you vote for them, you'll have to pay property tax.
And that is my point. The PNM always does that. Expect these things when it comes to election. But remember, in 2010, they tried this, they tried this, right?
We see what happened then.
At the accent, and what happened? They get a song licking. Now they're coming back. No, look at it, Chris. Think of this. What are you telling Trinidadians is that we are bold and brazen enough to come back with this, because we have the confidence that despite we have a Minister of Finance who sat and laughed in our face and insult us and say, I've raised the fuel taxes, fuel subsidy, tax 15% 3 times. I'll raise it again because it didn't riot. Despite the fact that increase in cost of living, despite the fact that food inflation and everything is rising in this country, despite the fact that we now came through as COVID pandemic, and a lot of people lost their job owing to the incompetence and the non-caring, heartless government that is serving us now, right? Despite all this fact, we are still bold and brazen to tell you, property tax coming in your Rukung. And I expect you to vote for me because you're stupid enough. I hope the people of Trinidad and Tobago will prove them wrong, that we ain't stupid, right? We want a government that cares, a people-centered government, a government that went the mantra. 𝗂𝗓𝗄𝗔𝗡, the reason why I put up myself under UNC, it is primarily because 𝗂𝗓𝗄𝗔𝗡 didn't just only talk the walk, she walked the talk. She started off with serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. And one of the first things that she did that demonstrated a heart for the people was putting on her tall boots and going in whose constituency? It was Dr. Rowley's constituency, wasn't it? Down in Diego Martin. Am I wrong? Anybody could correct me? When she went on the flood? Contrary to that, what was Dr. Rowley's first response in an interview with Natalie Lago when he was asked, are you going to bridge the gap between the rich and poor? You understand? What did he say? No, that is cliche. It's not about carrying one up to bring one down. That's cliche. We will provide opportunities for the rich to get richer, so that they in turn will create opportunities for the poor. So the PNM is a party who is contented with the citizens continually and perpetually creating a dependency syndrome upon the rich people in this country and the PNM and the financiers. That cannot be right. And I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, draw the comparison with a government that cares. Children Life Fund, laptops, all those things will be moved by the PNM. 𝗂𝗓𝗄𝗔𝗡 open the gate, right? And I can go on and on to demonstrate why I took the decision to go up under the United National Congress as a candidate as opposed to the PNM. Right? I have been on an attack on the PNM since before 2010, and that is where I get my name, Mr. Malabar. And it's not because I am do not like the PNM. because I like people. I just don't like the policies. I don't like the philosophy.
Well, I'm listening to the both of you all. Well, first of all, let me say good night. We have to all our viewers who are on social media. We have about 200 people live with us tonight. Right, so welcome. It's a pleasure to have you all. Good night to all of the regulars that I'm seeing. I'm seeing Tommy, Jermaine, Adam. Shanta couldn't be here tonight, but she is live on social media with us. Karina, Kazraj, Calvin, Trinity the Bone, people who join us week after week. Just doing a quick time check. It is 8:52 p.m. So we're going to head into our Q&A and open mic. So I'm inviting you all to put whatever questions you have on the chat. And also, if anybody would like to make a contribution, feel free to raise your hand, those of you all who are on Zoom. Now, I want to say I'm listening to Nadia and Lyndon here tonight, and I'm so impressed because you all are so knowledgeable and extremely articulate on the issues. I can't wait to hear you all on a platform, you know. So let me know when that is taking place and I come in. I mean, really, it's some powerful discourse taking place here tonight, right? I want to touch on something Lyndon would have said.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a comment that Dr. Rowley, Prime Minister Rowley, would have made. And this is something that has been circulating, you know, time and time again all over social media, where he says people are stupid, right? And then you would have repeated that tonight. So I want to ask the both of you all, do you all believe that the electorate is really stupid?
I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say that they are stupid. I will not go down that road as Dr. Rowley. I will say that traditionally they have been lost politically, right? And when people in this country, we have persons who vote traditionally because of what they inherit from their parents. They grew up in a home, which is PNM, UNC, as the case may be, right? So I grew up in a PNM home. I vote for PNM, right? And as a result of that, my family is PNM, so I am a PNM till I die, right? But I would not say that people are stupid. It's just that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are tolerant. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are passive, right? And the government, the PNM government, has taken advantage of our passivity. And they will relate to that subvertedly as stupidity. But it's not stupidity. It is just that over the years, the people of this country has taken a decision to have grown a culture, develop a culture of not rioting and getting on in any, riotous manner towards oppressiveness. So we will seem to be stupid. I don't know what was meant when he said that, but in my eyes, I do not see Trinidadians as stupid. We have produced some of the world's best colors. How can we be stupid? You understand? We have an educational system in this country. Well, under the PNM, it has just the job drastically. There are more failures in the SCA than anything else. We have a minister. Yeah, we have a minister of education just occupying.
We have two.
Just existing, and they just existing, right?
We have two, right?
But and then if it is that we have to judge it from that, and then we say that look here what's happening, and they're still going back and voting for that, then probably Dr. Rowley was justified in saying that, but I still wouldn't say that.
Okay, so, well, there's a question that I would like to take from the chat here. Can the candidates recap the past electoral composition of their corporations? And what are the predictions for the upcoming election? So in other words, are we expecting a change? So Nadia?
So CJTRC is the second largest regional corporation in Trinidad, right? We have 18 members of council. Well, we've had 18 members of council, which is made up of 14 councillors and 4 aldermen. Now there was a change, there's a change in boundary. So we have 15 electoral districts, and we are waiting to see, well, come August, after August 14th, the aldermen. But to take a little bit of what Lyndon said, and based on the question that you would have said about our so-called honorable prime minister saying the people of Trinidad and Tobago is stupid, the mantra of Keith Rowley and the PNM is to always blame the opposition and blame the people of Trinidad and Tobago for their failure, for their incompetence, right? So they don't have a plan at all. So come this August 14th, the people will realize which is the party and which is the true government that has the plan. Come August 14th, they will vote out the whatever remaining PNM councillors they have. This will lead the road to victory in 2025. And us UNC councillors will be victorious. We will come in there and we will show them what it is to run a corporation and to run a government.
And Lyndon, I want to hear your comments about 𝗚MA. What is the prediction for 𝗚MA?
Well, you know, there's this belief that 𝗚MA is unwinnable, but 𝗚MA is not unwinnable because the UNC has done it already. And the last of which in 2010, when we won under the People's Partnership, and then we came in the by-election there, although we had a crossing of the floor, what we wanted under, we won one of the seats under Sheldon Fish-Garcia as a UNC candidate in the by-election, right? The prospects looking good, right? Because the field of candidates that has there for 𝗚MA in the 7 districts, the corporation, I am talking about persons who really excel in the way their love for people, their passion to serve. And you see it in their walks when they go out there. Alicia, you will see the pictures and the videos that are being posted regularly from 𝗚MA, right? The people in 𝗚MA, despite there has been the voter turnout has not been encouraging, but we are trying to fix that deficit and raise that bar. You understand? And we are working hard to do that. Right? It's not encouraging. And once that can be achieved, I don't see the PNM as much as they may feel, as confident as they may feel. Right? I am seeing the UNC, United National Congress, occupying control of the 𝗚MA Corporation. We are not going to sit by idly and know that we have voters out there who are disenchanted and are not coming out because they are disenchanted. This is where we have to deal with those who have lost confidence and trust in representatives. And these are the people that we are targeting, right? So that they will earn our trust, earn our confidence, and let them know that we should not be made sacrificial lambs for the Judases that went before us. Right? We are coming here to serve the people, and we choose to serve the people under a party that won an election on a mantra, serve the people, and we see that this party served the people between 2010 to 2015, and they continue even opposition to make their mark. And that is where we are projecting our energy, right? None of the 7 candidates who put up ourselves come there because we just want to occupy an office. Lisha, the stipend that pays for a councillor cannot attract me to be a councillor. What attracts me is my passion to make a change in Malabar North. What attracts the other candidates, and I can speak for them, is to make a change in their districts, in their respective districts. And this is where we are as UNC candidates, right? We are proud, and we ready for battle, and we sending the signal out to the people's national movement that we are not in there to lose, we are in there to win. I am not going to outline on air what are my strategies, my team's strategies going into the election.
Yeah, of course.
That's right. We ain't going to put that out there because we know we have some political miscreants, thieves, right? That is looking on.
Well, you know, the word on the ground is the whole country is going one majority is going yellow. I see even in the PNM is becoming yellow.
That's right. Exactly.
And the region, Chris, the region of CTTRC and the regional corporation will go full yellow.
And it looks like the next program we're doing, we have to wear yellow then.
Let me tell you, there's a joke.
I want to come back there to 𝗟MA, and I mean, I am on social media a lot, as people would know, and I've been really, for lack of a better word, mapping what's going on in 𝗟MA. And I really want to say that I'm so impressed with the 𝗟MA UNC team. This is a UNC team, an 𝗟MA UNC team that I have not seen that kind of energy and that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of hard work for quite some time. So I am really expecting some good things from you all in 𝗟MA, you know. Right? You all have heard Lyndon 𝗟𝗏🗏, your candidate for Malabar North, speak, right? And we will be bringing the rest of the 𝗟MA candidates on this program. It's a very, very powerful team. So we're really looking forward to seeing some change there in 𝗟MA. And change is much needed, especially with the crime that's taking place in 𝗟MA. So guys, it's 9:03, time really flies. So I am going to ask again, right? We will do a hard stop at 9:30, depending on how the conversation progresses. We may wrap up a little before, but any questions that you all have, or if anybody would like to make a contribution, feel free to put up your hands, right? Continuing with the panel discussion though. I am not going to say if you all are successful on August 14th. I'm going to say when you all are successful on August 14th. What do you intend to do for your districts? If you were to list maybe the top 5 things that you would address in your districts, what would you do? Anyone?
One of the first things I am going to address, and that is one of the primary things, is to address the issue of that lack of trust that has been developed over the years, right? That one of the first things, because in order to really get that change that is required to develop your district, you have to build that trust in your burgesses, right? I want to bridge that gap between the burgesses and the representative, right? I want to narrow that gap. I see a local government councillor as a middle manager. He's the bridge between the burgesses and central government MP, right? You cannot just occupy an office being paid with taxpayers' money and give them nothing in return. That is two. The other thing is that I want to work primarily, but not, with the youths, right? You see what they were saying earlier when she talked about the fish. I was on Banyan Boulevard and I was speaking to about 5 of them were seated there. I was just driving through and I stopped and speaking to them. And it's the very same thing I told them. I say, if I give you a fish, you go home, you bake that, you fry it, whatever you do, you eat it. You're hungry tomorrow, right? So you come back out begging for another fish. But if I provide the means for you and I empower you to become a fisherman, then you could go and fish for your own fish, and you can build an industry out of marketing fishes, right? They agree with me. What I was trying to get them to understand is that many times you come and you say, you want this, you want a $500, you want $1,000. I say to them, when the other party come and put $1,000 in an envelope, take it. Why? Because that is not even 0.5% of what they have stolen from you. So take it. All right? And let them know they have more for you. So those three things along it's, ensure there as a superhero. Superheroes are fictions. I am not selling you dreams. I am coming with a vision. And that vision includes us as a community, as a district, working together to develop the community, to make it one that everyone can feel safe, secure, and contented that something is being done and that the interests of the Burgesses are being met. Basically, I'm not coming with no intellectual speech. I just come with a vision. Develop and reshape Malabar.
Vision. And Lennon, the people agreeing with you on social media. Claudia says, yes, UNC will be taking the Arima Corporation.
That's
so
right.
you're getting a lot more support there. So Nadia, I want to pass that question on to you as well. Like, what would you do when you become councillor of your district?
Alicia, basically, just to summarize it all and everything that Lyndon would have said, I would like to see further improvement in the infrastructure in my community. Roads, bridges, cleaning of water courses, infrastructure. But more importantly, given the rise in crime, I want to be able to continue working with stakeholders in securing my neighborhood, securing the school compounds, securing the livelihoods of the people, creating an ease of access to services at the corporation. But more so, and I want to stress, more so, I want to pledge to work tirelessly in retaining my Burgesses to the safety and the quality of life they deserve.
And Nadia, we are seeing some very nice comments about you as well on the chat. Somebody said Nadia is not only a counselor but a humanitarian at heart, and you could clearly that is coming out. It's coming out when she speaks that humanitarian nature. Right. So somebody also mentioned on the chat that they're so impressed with our councillor nominees this round. Right. So I mean, guys, even I said it before, listening to you speak, I must say I am impressed on your knowledge, your vision, Linda, that what you're speaking about there, that vision for building, right, your districts, that, and particularly you see how you're zeroing in on the youth. That is so critical, because the youth really is our future, right? And if they have a better life, we will have a better life. And it's really sad. I mean, living in this country all my life to see where the youth have reached, and that sense of hopelessness that Chris spoke about that they have. But I think we will be on the right track. I mean, once we do see some definite changes in the governance of this country, we will get back on the right track, right?
We will see a change in the government.
Yeah.
Right. So the time now is 9:11. I'll pass Chris. You want to come in?
Yeah, certainly. So one of the things that I liked about tonight's program was we were able to hear from someone who's an incumbent, but also hear from someone who has the vision for many things that she already did. So there's this cohesiveness within the UNC, clearly, that is focused on really serving people, which is really the job, you know. I listened, and I wanted to say this earlier on, but I was listening. Yes, I still listened to Dr. Rowley's speech from the launch on Sunday. And what was interesting was reproach politics. Yeah, you know, all that you do for we. But even in the reproach of it, it would have been accomplishments from the Manning administration, accomplishments from the Williams administration. So I am still yet, I don't know if maybe in that speech was, you know, cut out, maybe, I don't know, but, you know, we will still listen on to see what he has to say based on what his accomplishments are and why we should vote for him. But tonight, we heard why you should vote for Nadia and why you should vote for Lyndon. And so we want to thank you all for joining us tonight and sharing with us so much of what you have done so far, what you intend to do. We are really, really impressed. We continue, I mean, week after week, 𝗟cia, this is something we discuss on and off air. We are really, really, you know, because we see you all, we all see each other, but of course, to have this one-on-one conversation, and not just for us, but of course the listening public, for them to be able to have a sit-down conversation with you is something very, we need more of that in our political landscape, to have that one-on-one sort of.
No, before we go into closing remarks, there is one question that I feel I need to ask both candidates, and that is, why do you think you would be the best candidate for your district? Because, of course, you know, we have the PNM and they filed candidates in all 141 districts. And then we have some of the smaller parties as well who would have put up candidates. So why should people pick you, right? So I don't know who wants to take that first, Nadia or Lyndon.
Well, 𝗟cia, first of all, I think being a counselor, or I just want to correct Lyndon there. Now, this is my opinion. Sometimes I believe a counselor is like a superhero. Some of the things we really have to do in assisting our burgesses is like a real life superhero. So, but being a counselor, filling this portfolio requires dexterity. If you notice, I love to use my hands. Empathy, diligence, experience, and most of all, a kind, sort of patient sort of person. So I believe that I possess all that trait. My colleagues might think stranger, or they might think not, but personally, I believe I possess these traits. However, being a counselor, and like I said before, every day you learn and you grow daily. But most important, one of the most important traits in this job is experience. And this is one job whereby experience trumps knowledge, or in other terms, emotional intelligence trumps book sense.
So, Lyndon, over to you.
I do not have the benefit of speaking from the position of a legacy as a counselor. So, you know, Nadia she has all that. But as a candidate, voting for me, let me put it this way: any candidate that put up themselves and had gotten the nod for Malabar North would have been the better candidate, right, for the UNC. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the representative that they had there right now really did not do a good job, right? But why am I the better candidate? It is primarily because I am a person who understands purpose, 𝗟cia. And when I understand the purpose for which I am getting into politics and what is politics, I think that is the difference that I have. You know? I have seen persons sit in office, they do understand why they are there as councillors. Now, let me just give a definition of politics so you'll understand why I'm saying this, right? Politics is an activity aimed at improving the standard of living of citizens, right? If you are there and you didn't do it, then you have failed. I, as a candidate, I come with a passion for serving. I come with a background reputation for representing the people's interests and their needs. I was once involved in developmental programs for the youths. I am not into this for the money. I'm into this because I genuinely have a heart and want to serve the people. And that is what makes me a better candidate for Malabar North, primarily because I come with a genuine heart to serve the people. No big intellectual, nothing, just genuinely have a heart to serve the people. And when I get there, after my term, I must have a legacy that I have bring a positive change. And that is the difference with me and the other candidate.
None, I can't argue with you there, you know. I can't argue with you there at all. Right? And I think in both of you, UNC really has two extremely strong candidates, right? So, right, I do wish you all the best. I'm seeing a lot of very positive comments on the chat. It is now 9:18, so I think it's time for our closing comments. Nadia, I don't know if there's any final words that you would like to leave with us.
Just to reiterate what I said earlier, to thank you all, both you and Chris and the Compass Foundation, for having me on your program tonight and to share why I think I am the best candidate or the person to represent the people of Claxton Bay Point of View. I just want to reiterate to the people out there, it's about time we realize as a people that our voice has power. The people, their voice has a power that no government can control. And it's about time that we take back our country. Come on, let's stand up. Let us show the Prime Minister we are not a country full of stupid people like he believes. His government does stupid. They do stupid. They do that really, really good. So let us as a people come August 14th, come out in your numbers and show your support to the candidates across the board for who is representing the United National Congress. Come out and vote smart, vote for the party that truly loves the people and represents. Performance beats all talk. Performance speaks for itself, and the United National Congress, their performance would have spoken numbers.
Well, Lisa, I just like Nadia, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come on this program, and I want to commend you all for the work that you all are doing and continue doing the good work. Right? I want to speak to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Those who are here, you are not here by chance, you're here for a purpose. And it is my belief that the 200 of you who are here can network and ensure that you have a government that cares for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The UNC government. This local government election will set the tone for the general election. And we want to send a strong, strong message to the people's national movement that enough is enough. We are not voting, we will be voting for the United National Congress come August the 14th. We are getting into those polling booths early, those polling stations early. We are going to mobilize every one of our members to ensure that we rid ourselves from this taxing, thieving government. People of Trinidad and Tobago, this is the last chance that you have to vote for representatives that care for you, for Nadia, myself, and every other UNC member that put up themselves as a candidate in this election. We're here to serve you, the people. And when you vote, remember you are voting for you and for your children's future and your children's children's future. This is where you are going to vote for come August the 14th. Put together your intellectual capital and show this government that we are not stupid. We are an electoral bunch of people in this country, and we'll vote right. We'll vote the UNC, and we'll restore this country to credible, people-centered, service-oriented governance.
Thank you so much for that, Lyndon. And guys, before I pass you over to Chris to wrap up, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to both Nadia and Lyndon for joining us here tonight. I mean, there was so many powerful messages that were shared here tonight, giving back the people a voice, that message of hope. And hope is something that seems to be pervading these discussions, because it also came up last week when Renal and Nicholas were here with us, right? There's a loss of hope that we have in Trinidad, and that need to restore that hope. And I believe the UNC campaign is about that. It is about restoring hope to the people of the country, right? It's about performance. It is about being people-centered, caring for people, providing proper representation. We heard all of that being echoed by both Nadia and Lyndon, right? The other central theme that we keep hearing is providing more opportunities for the youth. And I especially like when Nadia spoke about teaching someone how to fish as opposed to giving them a fish, yes. Right? That is so powerful. So guys, I want to thank the 200 plus viewers who joined us tonight. Everybody, our regular viewers, everyone who stayed with us here on this Zoom, also on the chats, for all your comments, your questions, and so on. There's still a number of questions that we didn't get around to, right? That would be for part 2, right? So having said all of that, Chris, over to you to close off.
Yeah, I want to also join in thanking you both for taking time out of your day and coming and sharing with us and discussing some stuff with us tonight. Some really good things we discussed here tonight. But I also want to just, you know, ensure that we are all on the same page. I know that some of our viewers, you all do not look at every single thing. You might just maybe watch this sometimes. But the UNC has also taken a decision to accommodate other political parties, because the belief is that united as a country, we can do it together. And I think that is such a beautiful message. But also there's this feeling of just betterment already, just knowing that we're going to come together as one, because that's really what the UNC was intention would have been when it was founded. And so to see us return to that position in evaluating that at this point in 2023, we need to do this together. And I think that's a very great message to send to the country. I think we're very divided, not just in our politics, but in many discussions. We have noticed that we have been a very divisive society for quite some time. And I think this could be the spark of hope and love that we need as a country. So I hope you all join us next week for another episode of Critical Conversations with the Campus Foundation. And of course, you know, we are taking on the local, everything, all things local government for the next couple days, actually, until August the 14th. So with that said, thank you for joining us and have a good night.
Good night, everyone. And we'll see you all again next week, Tuesday, for another episode of Critical Conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.